Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders. Appreciate you guys joining me today. Look, Coach Prime back in the headlines. It seems like Coach Prime can't stay out of the headlines, and I'm okay with it because Coach Prime's entertaining. He's authentic. He's real. I know a lot of you guys don't necessarily like that aspect of it, but I do. The guy is out there. He's honest, and he's doing it his way. And I absolutely love that he's doing it his way, and it's different than conventional wisdom. Having said that, today, I'm going to get on Coach Prime a little bit about some of the comments that he made, and we're going to dig into that a little bit because I think at some point Coach Prime's got to take a stand and choose one side or the other. So we'll get into that. Before we do, I appreciate everybody being in here. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in those comments section, and always hit the notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. So first off, let's get into this. What did Coach Prime say or do? You know, they keep asking him over and over and over again about, is he going to the NFL? And he's always said no, and he's given, several reasons. But this time, the question comes up, and he says, the only way that I would go to the NFL is if I could coach my sons, Shiloh and Shedeur, which, in my opinion, is a colossal mistake. Not that necessarily that he said it, that he would even put that out into the universe. Now, look, the man, obviously he's a grown man. He can say what he wants. This is America, and you can do and say whatever you want as long as you're not going to break the rules, break the law, I should say, and that's fine. But at some point, Coach Prime, look, I'm not saying he can never go to the NFL, but if you're going to be at Colorado, just say, hey, man, I'm at Colorado and I'm not leaving. And then if you do turn around and leave, you can leave and say, hey, I got a better opportunity. There's nothing wrong with any of that. I don't plan on leaving, but I got a better opportunity if that's what happens. But throwing this, the only way I would go is because, the coach Shedeur and Shiloh, I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. Now, here's a couple of things. First off, like I mentioned, you guys know that I'm a huge Coach Prime supporter. Absolutely love the guy. Love what he does. Love his bravado. Loves that he rebuilt an entire Power 4 program from nothing. Colorado was in ruins. Worst Power 4 school out there. And we all know it. They had I would say 3/4 of their roster before he got there wasn't Power 4 ready. I'll use a nice word and say ready. We know that. A lot of people gave him flack because of how he used the rules, the actual rules, and rebuilt a roster. Went from 1 win to 4 to 9. Call it whatever you want. Oh, they didn't play anybody, yada, 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 whatever. Bottom line is he's rebuilt that program. And now to the point to where it's not just transfers, where they are still getting big-time transfers. They also are on the recruiting trail. Something that a lot of people said that he couldn't do is recruit freshmen. He wasn't bringing in any freshmen. Well, now he's doing that as well. And I think big things are on the horizon. Still left to be seen whether he can coach people that aren't his sons. But if history says something about bringing in the talent and who he has on his staff, I think Colorado is going to be in good shape for a while if he's there. So I want to make sure that we're clear because I've said it several times, and sometimes you guys get in the comments and say, well, you're just a hater. I am a Coach Prime supporter. But that doesn't mean I have to agree with everything he does and says. Two things can also be true. And I mean, in America these days, I think we so much live in generalities and absolutes that you give no grace to have, hey, I agree with this, but I don't agree with that. That's allowed. That is 100% allowed. And this is one of those cases. Like I said, I love what he's built at Colorado. It came from nothing. They were terrible, terrible, terrible. Says that he's building young men, that he prefers to do that. And when he says it, I believe it. There's a lot of people that don't believe it, But I believe it. He says he would rather build and mold young men than have to deal with professionals. There's something to be said for that. There absolutely is something to be said for that. So for that, I commend him, because a lot of people don't have the patience for younger guys to have to deal with them. You even see that in professional ranks. Head coaches don't have the patience for young guys, rookies, second-year guys, because they aren't professional yet. They don't know how to be. And you see coaches that they just have no patience for that. So that's something to be commended. Will these comments, though, come back to bite him is one of the questions that I have. Will his comments, stop the recruiting train, stop the transfer train? Will people start recruiting against that? Say, hey, man, the first opportunity he gets to go coach his sons, he's going. You still going to go? Why would you go to Colorado? I mean, he's basically saying as soon as he can get out of there to go coach his sons in the NFL. I think he's got to stop saying some of that stuff. Now, part of this is him learning on the job of things you can and can't say that people are going to hold against you. But he may not even care, But my whole thing with that is I think he's got to let that go, because I would almost guarantee that Shedeur and Shiloh, number one, aren't going to be on the same NFL franchise. That's number one. Number two, for being honest, I'm not sure how much of a prospect Shiloh even is as an NFL player. I mean, he's not great in coverage. We saw what he did in tackling. He's okay. I mean, I think he's basically a linebacker, but he would be an undersized linebacker. I don't think he's an NFL safety. That's not his skill set. So we'll see what happens. I hope it works out, and I hope he has a long career. But from what we saw in college, not sure that it's going to translate to the NFL. But that's neither here nor there. As far as Shedeur goes, I think Shedeur's got a future. I absolutely think he has a future. I think he's a great quarterback. He can make some things happen. Having said all of that, why is it, okay, well, I'll only go to coach my sons? I just don't like that fact. And now it's, well, how long are you going to stay at Colorado? Your sons are not going to be there anymore. You don't have any other sons that we know of that are going to be going there. So have you lost interest in coaching at Colorado? Now, the first thing is Colorado's got to make it worth Deion Sanders' while. And you know what that means. Colorado's got to pony up the money. Now, maybe they have it. Maybe they don't. I don't know. You got to find it. I do know that Deion has brought a lot of money into that community, a ton of money into the community, into the school, into the program. So at some point, they got to pony up the money and make it worth his while to stay. Whatever that number is the number. I'm not going to speculate, but it's more than he makes right now. I would say it's probably double what he makes right now for what he means to that program. Now, there's going to be a lot of people out there that say, well, he's not won anything, Big B. He hadn't won anything. He hadn't proven anything. And to a large extent, you would be right. No Big 12 titles, no bowl wins, no playoff appearances. He hasn't done any of those things. However, he has built a program that was in the scrap heap. And anybody that's trying to deny that Colorado was in the scrap heap, I say this all the time. I'll say it right now. You're lying to yourself. You're just lying. Colorado was horrendous, just horrendous. And him being there has changed the perception of the program. Number one, it's a media darling. When they play, people watch. Whether good or bad, people are watching. So that's number one, garnering attention. Number two, they are playing better on the football field. Not at a championship level. No, they're not. So let's not say they're playing at a championship level. But just because that you're not playing at a championship level doesn't mean you aren't playing better than what you were a year ago and especially 2 years ago. So all of that is happening. What he's bringing as far as money to the program, the excitement, the allure, all the games are sold out. Think about that. The games are sold out at Colorado. 2 years ago before he got there, how many people went to a game in October in Colorado? I would venture to say 25,000 people went to those games because they were terrible. Absolutely terrible. And 25,000 is probably a stretch. It probably wasn't that many people. That's what I'm saying. This is what he's bringing to the university. Enrollment is up. Look, there's wild numbers as far as how much he's brought to the community, all the way up to 500% more, 150% more, whatever. You can do your own research on the numbers because it's going to fluctuate all over the place. Having said all of that, he's brought economic growth to the entire area. So there's that. School, like I mentioned, enrollment up, excitement around campus up. All the things that he is doing is better than before he got there. All of it. Every aspect of it. So at some point, you got to reward that. At some point, Colorado's got to say, you know what? We got to keep this gravy train going. Let's pay this man so that if he does make a decision to leave, somebody's really going to have to knock his socks off for him to get out of here. Because, number one, the pressure is not nearly as high at Colorado as it's going to be at any NFL job. And maybe that doesn't faze Deion. But he's human. He's a human being. We don't all just love pressure all the time. And that's what an NFL job is. So he's built what he's got. He's just got to start maintaining it and continue to rise. And if they continue doing the things that they're doing, they're going to get there, people. They're going to get there. But that's the big thing. Are they going to make it worth his while to stay? Now, the comments, like I said, they're not really malicious in nature. I just believe he's got to let go. Prove that you can coach people besides your sons. Now, I guess one question is he even interested in doing that? And it kind of makes you wonder when he makes these kind of comments. Do you even want to coach anybody that isn't your sons? Because that's all he's done. He's coached his kids. Do you have the same fire? Do you have the same type of drive? You're getting your sons to the NFL. At least one of them for sure. They've reached the pinnacle. Is your job done? Are you saying it's done? He said, I love it here. I like it here. Why would I leave? But he's never just said, I'm at Colorado until I'm done. Until I'm done coaching. I'm not saying he has to say that, but he could. And even if he does say that and somebody gives him an opportunity in the NFL, you backtrack that easy. Hey, man, they gave me the opportunity of a lifetime. I can't turn it down. I was very happy at Colorado, had no intention on leaving, but somebody, gave me an opportunity of a lifetime. I had to jump at it. And the only thing I don't like about him, with him saying he wants to coach his sons in the NFL, or that's the only reason he would go is to do it, is that I think Deion could actually be a big-time coach. Look, he's not the X and O guy, and I'm not saying he doesn't know X's and O's. That's not what I'm saying. But Deion, like a lot of coaches in college football, a lot of coaches in general, are the CEO. They have guys that he puts people in place and delegates, and he makes decisions. A lot of coaches out there that do that. Mike Tomlin would be one of those. Although he's a defensive guy, and a lot of people say he runs the Steelers defense, he is a CEO. That's what a lot of coaches are. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But back to my point, I want to see if he has the opportunity to be a huge success as a coach. And I think he's selling himself short by basically saying, well, I'll only go if I can coach my sons. If you want to go to the NFL, go by all means. But don't have it just be, well, only if I can coach my sons. Now, again, he can do what he wants. I'm not here telling him he can't do it. I mean, who the hell am I? I'm just saying I think he's selling himself short. I think he's selling himself short in Colorado, because I know a lot of you out there don't remember Colorado used to be a power in college football, an absolute power, year in and year out. Now, it was a long time ago, but they absolutely were. Absolutely, they were. I think they got an opportunity to get back to that. And again, it doesn't have to take 10 years to do it. I think they're right on the cusp. I think they are right on the cusp. So, and that's my thing. Can he coach kids that are not his sons? I think he can. I really think he can, but he's got to want to. That's the thing. He's got to have the same kind of fire, the same vigor. You know, he's got to have that. And if he does, I think he can be one of the better coaches in America. I really believe that. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that get in the comments and disagree with all of that, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. This is mine. I think if he really puts his head down and says, you know what, I'm just going to be at Colorado, and I'm going to go make the best out of this and really put his effort in. And I'm not saying he hasn't done that now, but his kids were there. Will you do it without him? I think he can. I think he should. I think Deion, look, Florida State, if they stink this year, they're going to fire their coach. And will Deion take that job? I say he tells them no. If I'm him, I don't go. There's no need. Tons of pressure. Not sure it'll work. Yeah, he would be at home. I get all of that. But sometimes going home isn't always the best thing. It's the easy thing. It's the comfortable thing. You know, it's the more familiar thing. But that doesn't always mean it's the best thing. I think Deion Sanders is in the perfect situation to be successful. But now he's just got to go and do it. And the first part of that, he's got to stop with the, well, my kid's in the NFL. I'm going to coach there. I want to coach them. Hey, man, just put that to rest. Unless you want to go, then go. But if not, then just be there. And I think we can't just continue the waffling back and forth. Again, I think he's doing himself a disservice because the questions are going to keep coming. Now, he probably doesn't care that the questions keep coming because he's just going to answer them. I mean, he's a confident man. And I love what he says. Don't let his confidence get in your way because, you know, it's not arrogance. It's just confident in what he's saying. I get it. I understand all of that. But at some point, you just got to let go and decide I'm going to be the best here and then just do that. Because if you're really trying to build Colorado, look, there's another transfer portal opening up in April. Colorado's got another opportunity to get good football players to help them in the fall. Are you going to be a part of that? Are you going to do that? That's all I'm saying. I think they got an opportunity. I just think Deion needs to just ease back on the rhetoric a little bit, ease into his seat a little bit there in Boulder, and go win some football games, man. I really do. Love what he's doing. Love the method in which he's done it. I know people hate it. I don't. Go against conventional wisdom. But really, is it against conventional wisdom? I mean, how many teams are turning over 25 and 30 guys a year in the transfer portal right this very second? There is a ton of them. A ton of them. Well, why are they doing that? Because the kids that they have, so I would say if you lose 30 guys, 18 of those guys, the coaches don't mind losing. They're like, yeah, they probably need to go. We can go get somebody else that may be a little bigger, a little faster. Maybe we can coach them up a little better. Those are just facts. Colorado just came in and did it with an entire roster and said, we got to get these guys out of here. They're not ready to play. And they did it. And now look where they are. Again, not championship level. I would venture to say not necessarily close to championship level yet. But I think it can get there. I think it can get there. But like I mentioned, I think Deion's just got to ease into his seat, you know, slump down a little bit and get himself comfortable in Boulder and just stay. Just sit there for a while. I'm not saying he has to. I'm not saying that, oh, you got to do this. I mean, who the hell am I? I'm just saying be comfortable at where you're at. Go do the job and go be the best college football coach in America. Go do that. Go prove that you can go do that. If you do and you can, they'll build a statue of you outside of, or in Boulder outside of that stadium. They will. They absolutely will. So go do that, man. It's cool, in my opinion. I appreciate y'all. That's all I got for you today, man. Thank you guys. As always, remember, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. We appreciate you. We will talk to you next week. You guys have a good one.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.